Welcome back, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to day number 4 of a Fistful of Tangoes, the 1v1 fun tournament. Yes, emphasis on fun. Brought to you by Beyond the Summit, made possible, of course, by all these wonderful players, top players from North America and Europe, who are all competing for, it says $500, but it will actually be a bit more. We haven't done the math, but we'll talk about that as we get more into this. I think the first thing that I want to mention is today is the last day using the old format. All of the round 1 matches, we had to be consistent, so we're sticking with best of 1 for the winners bracket round 1 matches. But for every match here on out, the format is going to change. We'll talk about that more once we get to the rules. But along with the format changing, the prize money per match will double from $20 to $40. So the winner's going to get that $40 for whoever wins each match from round 2 winners bracket, round 1 losers bracket onward. So more money at stake, more moolah for all these players, or Sing Sing would call it, more gold to be claimed. So, and he fucking loves gold. We all know that. So it's a Fistful of Tangoes. It's day number 4. Let's dive into it. If you're not familiar with the rules, very quickly, here are the rules. No Bottle Crow, no Soul Ring, no neutrals. Those are all locked in stone. You can have a bottle, but you cannot ferry it repeatedly to fill it up at the fountain. You get an extra 150 gold for a courier, and you must spend that gold on a courier. The hero selection, this will remain similar, but this is the main rule that is going to change for future days. For today, we're using these rules. 3 predetermined possible matchups. We create these in concert with other pros. We get their suggestions, and ultimately we make the final decisions. We offer them 3 possible matchups. They each secretly veto a matchup. They don't know what their opponent is vetoing. A veto is the same as a ban, basically, but you're banning a matchup, not a hero. You're banning a matchup, not a hero. So after we get their vetoes, if they've both vetoed the same matchup, only one remains. We use a coin flip to determine which one of the remaining 2 is played. There is no picking. Before I get to that, of course, if each player vetoes a separate matchup, then there's only one left, so we know which one we're playing. But then we have a matchup, who's playing what? There's no picking. We use coin flips to determine who plays which hero and which side each player gets. So 2 coin flips for that. When it's all said and done, we're underway. We have ourselves a ball game. It's the first to 2 kills or the first to 2 towers. Whoever can claim that wins. So, with all that being said, the rules for future days, I do want to mention real quickly, it's going to be very similar to this. The difference, though, is after game number 1, the players switch sides. Then we have game 2. If one player has won both matches, they win the best of 3. If they've each split 1-1, we go to the tiebreaker, the game 3. And for that game 3, we do same hero mode, but Dota 2 doesn't really have this, so we had to make a few adjustments. It's 1v1 Shadow Fiend solo mid, no runes, no items. The reason there's no items is that the only way to create 2 of the same hero in a game right now is using cheats, and heroes created via cheats cannot spend or use gold. So, as a result, we do no items, we do no runes, and I believe the victory condition is the first player to either get a tower or a kill. So it could be a format that ends very quickly. We'll see how it goes. It's possible maybe we would make tweaks for the final few rounds, but for now, that is the format we're going to go with. Hopefully, it will be fun to watch. And for those who aren't familiar with Dota 2, or with Dota and the history of Dota and 1v1 matchups, Shadow Fiend 1v1 mid is the classic matchup. It's not something that we just pulled out of thin air. It's not just another hero. Shadow Fiend 1v1 is a tradition in Dota. It dates back into Warcraft 3, into the very early days of 1v1. And so it's not just something we came up with, it's something that has been around for a long time, and it's really the historical way that skill is decided. So for all those saying, oh, he's not a Shadow Fiend player, if you want to be the best 1v1 mid, you have to be a good Shadow Fiend player. That just comes with the territory. So that's the rules. Enough yammering about those. For today, though, it's only going to be the best out of 1 format. So with all that being said, it's Funn1k versus Kuroky. That's today's matchup. Funn1k, of course, he's really risen to prominence this year playing for Empire. He plays the offlane for the most part. Sometimes he plays that Wisp, but mostly we see him on heroes like Klink's Darkseer. And the question is, do his offlane skills translate into 1v1 mid? I think they will. Then on the other side, you have Kuroky. You've got who used to be known as K-God by the Chinese community, a dominant carry player back in his day. And I say in his day, he was even playing carry earlier this year, but he has transitioned as of late into a support role, or more of a support role anyway. Sometimes we even see him on jungler. So very versatile player, a very old school player, up against slightly fresher blood in Funn1k, and this should be a great match. It is, of course, going to be a best out of one. And without any further ado, let's take a look at the matchups these two players had to choose between. The three matchups we offered them: Shadow Fiend versus Viper. Interesting matchup. Shadow Fiend's got the better burst damage, but Viper has that kiting harassment potential. Shadow Fiend, arguably the better rune control because he can push the lane a bit harder, but in order to push that lane, you've got to be in range for raises, and getting a range for raises means you're in range for that poison attack harassment. Also, if they both contest the same rune, that gets very dicey for Shadow Fiend. He can easily be slowed, kited, and then brought down. It's hard for him to run. It's hard for him to turn and land those raises because he can't move very quickly. He can't reposition as easily as you would like. So I think a very even matchup, and a bit of a classic one, something we used to see more of in the olden good old days of Dota, and hopefully something that should be interesting here. Next matchup, Enigma versus Batrider. Could be very interesting as well. Enigma, obviously he's got the advantage coming from Deny, so he can slow down the leveling of Batrider. Batrider, always a strong tower diver, can kill the Eidolons pretty quickly later on with Firefly and Sticky Napalm, but Enigma is going to have the level advantage. Enigma also can look to out-control Batrider in late, having those Eidolons should be able to outlast hit him early on. So Batrider, as dominant as he is 1v1, this is a matchup that could go either way, but runes are something that Batrider can really use to his advantage. If you're Enigma, maybe even send those demonic conversions to try and prevent Batrider from getting them, try and deny those runes. So it should be a very interesting matchup if we see it. Last but not least, Templar Assassin versus Venomancer. Venomancer with 4 ways to quickly remove refraction charges: the Plague Wards, the Gale, the Poison Stain, and the Poison Nova. All of these will tick down your refraction in a matter of seconds. You can also look to kite TA with the slow from Poison Stain and Poison Gale. So it's a pretty tough matchup on paper for TA, but this is Templar Assassin solo mid. Once she gets that refraction leveled up, if a Gale ever whiffs, depending on what build the Venomancer goes for as well, it is a matchup that TA could look to find some kills. Venomancer, if he wants to really play it towards the late game, maybe we'll see him level up the Plague Wards and just try to outpush TA, because as good as TA is at killing heroes, in a pushing war, that's something Venomancer should be able to win. So those are the 3 possible matchups. How did the vetos turn out? Let's find out right now. We are going to see the vetos and then the final matchup right before your eyes. You see it here. Kuroky, he vetoes Enigma versus Batrider, and then Funn1k vetoes, or bans, if you want to call it that, Templar Assassin versus Venomancer. So what are we left with? We're left with 2 coin flips. When the coin flips were done, we had Kuroky playing the Viper on the Radiant side and Funn1k on the Shadow Fiend on the Dire side. So should be an absolute treat to watch. This matchup, very interesting. I really think it could go either way, but it really is, it's going to come down to that Shadow Fiend's play. If he misses raises, he's going to lose this lane. If he's nailing all of them, then it's something that Funn1k should have a pretty decent time with and have a good shot at advancing. How is he going to play the matchup? Are they going to go for kills? A Viper pretty much has to. Shadow Fiend could try to win this by pushing, could try to win this by rune control, but it's tough to do. It's hard to maintain that perfect positioning. So we're going to find out exactly what the strategy is for Funn1k. It's more about him for Kuroky. There's pretty much just that one style of out lane controlling your opponent and out harassing them in the lane. So those were the vetoes, those were the coin flips, and now it's time for the match. That's enough yammering, folks. It's time to get this rodeo on the road. Welcome back, everybody, inside the game. It's the Shadow Fiend, gonna be handled by Funn1k up against Kuroky's Viper. This one should be a doozy. Remember, this is the old format. This is the last day using that old format. It's a best out of 1. Winner advances, loser not out of the tournament, but they do drop down to that loser's bracket, and it will be a tougher road the rest of the way. So who's it gonna be? We're about to find out. We are now officially... well, we would be officially inside the game. There we go. Now we're officially inside the game. Kuroky on the Radiant. He'll be playing the Viper. He's got the Wraith Band. He's got the Iron Branches picked up. And he will be going for a lot of damage early on. Just the plus stats. Really wants to shut down that Shadow Fiend and prevent him from getting the early souls. And that's something that's very important. If you give the Shadow Fiend the early souls, he can start to trade blows with you more favorably. And until you have that level 3 poison attack, it does have a cooldown, so you can't really rely on it to kite him as easily as you would like. You'll see both players are using their courier to scout the runes. So we have Kuroky, of course, K-God, as the Chinese like to call him, playing that Viper. No regen, though, so any raises he takes will be damage done towards him. Then we have Funn1k, has opted for a very standard build. Went for the plus stats. You can't really do that eco bottle rush in a true 1v1 without really falling behind early on. You need to get those early souls up, so he's going for a lot of plus damage. And we see 2 Slippers of Agility, 2 Iron Branches, as well as Tangoed South. So going for a decent amount of regen. He's not actually sending his courier to scout the rune, though. Just kind of chilling here with Funn1k. This is... well, it's cute. There should be some appropriate music for this one, I think. The courier's not actually at the rune yet, but it will walk down to scout. One thing I'm surprised we haven't seen is maybe just courier ambush hijinks. Like, some players are scouting runes with their courier. Why not just take a risk and say, okay, I'm going to go see if you show up here. Now, of course, you don't know if they're going to scout with the courier, and you've really got to be on the ball. But that courier, only 300 base move speed, and if you have 600 rage, it's something you could look to try and gank it. So we'll see. Maybe Funn1k, I'm not sure what he's doing. This might have been a misclick, but it's very cute all the same. Is he just using it to get an extra block? I guess that's the job. I guess that's the idea. Just making his creep block a little bit better. And he does get the better block in the end. Kuroky, not quite as good. Yeah, it must have been intentional, just to help him block more. Interesting. Not something you usually see. The courier is usually needed at base to ferry out sentries in an actual 5v5, but the creeps are going to be on the high ground, but almost too far on the high ground. Now it's where Kuroky, he's just comfortable standing up here, and Funn1k will be safely at his tower, but Kuroky can still be on the high ground. He's not going to be missing. Kuroky already 1 and 3. This is the power of Viper in the early levels. 2 and 3. Funn1k has to know he doesn't have regen, and maybe it's something he looks to try and trade blows, but and if he's not doing that, Kuroky's going to be coming out on top. Also, interesting to note, Kuroky, sometimes we'll see players go for Nether Tox at level 1. It does improve your last hitting a bit, but it doesn't let you harass as much. So he goes for the no regen build, then he's trying to trade blows with Funn1k, and he's taking a little bit of harassment. He hasn't fully shut down Funn1k. Now the lane's pushing. Kuroky trying to last hit under tower. Oh man, he just stole that creep right out from under him. That was a bit of a creep jack there. Not quite a smoke tank to the Ancients, but we'll get there someday. And Funn1k just spamming those raises. The early level raises, they don't do a lot of damage, so you might as well just use them for last hits on creeps, because they still do more than your auto techs. 58 damage for the auto techs, 75 before reduction, so you're looking at like 68, no, maybe a little bit less, like 65 damage or so around that. Perhaps closer to 60 for the raises, but it's still more than his base damage up until now. So, using those early raises, and he's actually outlast hitting Kuroky. I'm a little worried for Kuroky. He hasn't fully shut down Funn1k, and you can see the downside to his stats-oriented build is he doesn't have regen. So now he's got to be nervous about getting aggressive. Sure, you hit harder early on, but once Funn1k starts to trade with you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Funn1k throws the X-rays out there, or the W-rays if you don't use legacy hotkeys, and thinking about, he could even go for, oh, Funn1k. Oh yeah, he just did that. He just canceled Kuroky's salve. Kuroky, not prepared for that, has actually gone for a very early magic stick. Not trying to rush a bottle, and the magic wand as well, which is a decent item against Shadow Fiend. It's not bad, but this isn't Bat Rider either. It's not Zeus, where he's going to be spamming 6-7 nukes per mana pool. It's or not 6-7, like 10 to 12. He's only going to be using a couple of raises and then going to check the runes. So I'm not really sure that this item is going to do as much as he would like, and the lack of early regen hurting Kuroky. Now that he's forced to sit back, Funn1k is free farming. Well, once Kuroky hits level 5, that's going to be the moment where things get really dicey for both heroes. He is slightly higher level. He's got more denies here. You can see he's already up to level 4, and if he hits level 5 first, that's going to be an opportunity for him to maybe get a first blood. He is salving up now. You'll notice that he's sitting a little bit farther back. Doesn't want Funn1k to cancel that salve. And it's going to be starting to last hit. The rune did spawn. Nobody's really left the lane to check it yet, though. DD rune bottom. We'll see who picks that up. Generally, as mentioned, Shadow Fiend is going to be better at pushing the lane. He should have the edge to getting the rune. But if Kuroky wants to miss some experience and just try and kill him, once he hits level 5, he may be able to do that. Very important for Funn1k. You'll see every time he has an opportunity to hit a raise, now that it's that level 2 and soon to be level 3 raise, he's throwing it onto Kuroky. And the reason is, if you're keeping that Viper low, it's like what we saw with the Pudge yesterday. If you keep that hero low, Viper is a hero. If he's got full HP, he'll just man fight you and kill you. But if he's low already, then you can kill him before his extra damage from Nether Toxin, as well as Poison Tech, really starts to kick in. Funn1k is going to head towards the bottom rune. And that's a rune that Viper can't really contest. So with where the lane was, if he went top, Kuroky could maybe look to try and steal it and fight him for it. But DD rune bottled up bottom, and then waits for the second rune. Smart timing by him. He's going to lock into the double rune as well. Something you can't count on, but hey, that is the one benefit. You know Viper's not leaving the lane, and if he is, he's missing out on experience because you're pushing it. So wait until 2 runes have had a chance to spawn, and then look to get lucky and claim both. And well, Funn1k does get very lucky. Gets the double damage rune. As far as last hitting goes, he's pulling ahead. Denies are still slightly favoring the Viper. Remember, Viper's got that incredibly strong killing power, but with the double damage rune on Shadow Fiend, he's going to have to wait this one out. And then with the illusion rune up as well, it might be even hard for him to trade blows then. And you can see Funn1k knows that he has the advantage now. He's getting really aggressive. He's sitting up on the enemy hill. Whenever your opponent's positioned up here and you're back at your tower, that's a lane that you just don't feel comfortable. You can take the fight at that point. And it's a lane. A good player is going to bully you, and that's exactly what we see Funn1k doing. Courier comes in, delivers the boots. Still no bottle, still no regen, but bottle isn't a great item for Viper. It is decent. Once you use your ult and your poison attack combo, you will be pretty low on mana, but you know, it's not going to help you before then. He is going to pop his final salve. He is up to 7 magic stick charges, so in this next fight, he'll have not an extra life, but about half an HP bar worth of it. So, something that Funn1k's got to be careful about. He can't assume that this is just a normal Viper. It's a Viper with 8 magic stick charges, which is going to give you a little over, I think it's 140 HP. The mana not as important, but 140 HP, suddenly he's a little bit tankier. Maybe you need 2 extra auto attacks or an extra raid. Still, overall, I gotta say, Funn1k is doing better in this lane. He's out CSing Kuroky, and Kuroky is struggling a little bit. And it's all because Funn1k is hitting his raises. Every time he throws a raise out there, it's hitting Kuroky. Oftentimes, we saw early, the raise is used to get creeps, but now that Funn1k's got the levels, and he's got the damage, he's using the auto attacks to get creeps, and he's using the raises just to harass. This was salve number 3, I believe, for Kuroky. And Kuroky wants to dive this. Double raise from Funn1k. Man fight in mid. Funn1k's dropping low. Look how slowly he attacks. He hit every single raise, and he still is going to fall there. The magic wall does it. First blood to Kuroky. Ay, you can out-CS me, says Kuroky, but you gotta be worried about me manning up. And Kuroky, that shows you how strong Viper is at killing Shadow Fiend. He runs up the hill into the raises and has that chance to miss while he's going there, and also to take all the raises, and still turns the fight around. I also want to point out, he's opted for a point in Corrosive Skin. That is going to be, at level 1, this ability offers you a lot. It gives you that move speed, attack speed, slow. Just look at all the crap it gives you. Extra damage whenever they attack you. All sorts of slows. It synergizes well. And the big thing, once you poison attack to level 5, there's really no need to level it up. You can level it up eventually, maybe you want to, but it's got a 0-second cooldown. The damage over time, move slow, and attack slow all scale linearly, but as you can see, the cooldown is what scales kind of oddly. It goes 4, 3, 0. So once you get that to level 3, you stop on that. And then we're going to see most likely another Toxin Max next. He is trying to tank up, going for, can we call it the Korok build? Because Korok was just massive bracers and Wraith Bands yesterday. I think he would have gone mass drums if that game had drug on long enough. We haven't seen that much fighting over the runes this game. Kuroky's gonna dive the tower. Oh, Kuroky, that was a little ballsy. He wanted to go for the kill there, but he doesn't. And if you're not going for the kill, then you're taking raises and tower shots on the way out. So he's gonna have to ferry another salve. This is salve number 4, and he's gonna take 2 raises here. Oh boy, Funn1k, play with fire. You're gonna get burnt. One little trick that we would like to see from Kuroky, as he's gonna luck into a haste rune. This will probably be a free fountain trip for him. We'll see. Is he gonna go for the kill with this? Is he gonna look to finish the game even with this? He's got to drop all of his items and use that salve. No, he's not dropping the items. Oh, the salve isn't going to give him nearly as much HP as it could. A small decision there, but it could have consequences. This could be it. This could be the end for Funn1k. He's got to nail the raises. He hits 2, and that's going to be the death of Kuroky. Kuroky, he could have played it safe. He could have at least dropped the items and then salved, but he smelled blood in the water. He wanted the win right there. Ball back in Funn1k's court. With the game being 1-1, with it being even when it comes to kills, the creep stats are now favoring him by quite a bit. He's up in net worth, 300 up despite giving up a first blood. And that just shows you that Shadow Fiend is the better farmer in this matchup. Also, Viper dead for a while. He's only level 7 now. So, Funn1k on the break. I think this is Funn1k's game to lose at this point. As Shadow Fiend gets more levels, as you get tankier, that takes longer for that Nether Toxin to really kick in. Nether Toxin does extra damage based on how much HP you're missing. And it's percentage based. So if you have more total HP, Viper's pretty much doing flat damage to you. It scales slightly as he levels up, but you know, it's enough. There's no sort of percentage based multiplier really for his damage. until your HP gets low. So Funn1k, it's going to take him longer and longer to take extra damage from Nether Toxin. And the raises are still something that Kuroky really has to worry about. Both players going for Wraith, just going for stats items. We see power treads on Funn1k, nice synergy with the bottle, but similar for him, just going for those plus stats. We'll probably see, I think maybe some bracers coming out. Kuroky's thinking about going in, but he's got to get Funn1k lower. He doesn't want to eat that triple raise. Interesting divergence in skill build as well this game. Korok last game, he went for... Nice raise by Funn1k. He went for 1 point in presence of the Dark Lord, and he said he thinks it's better than getting that extra damage from Necromastery because it's -3 armor at level 1, and it makes your auto attacks hit harder. It synergizes well with the flat plus damage that Shadow Fiend gets, but we can see Funn1k going for the classic Shadow Fiend build, just opting for massive plus damage. And Kuroky, he feels like he needs a rune to win this game. Guessing the rune, the creep's in the middle of the river, and he guesses wrong. Funn1k's gonna claim it. Even if Kuroky got it, though, wouldn't really help him that much. Regen, he'd be up to full HP, but he's not winning the game off of that. And you can see, I think, more salves on the way. Yeah, yet another salve. Salve number 5 for him. That kill attempt mid cost Kuroky. I feel if he had just dropped all his items and salved up, maybe been a little more patient there, waited for Funn1k to extend a bit more. The haste turn had about probably 5 to 10 seconds left on it at least when Kuroky died, if not a little bit more. He might have been able to put the nail in the coffin for Funn1k, but now Funn1k's starting to feel a little more confident. He pops the regen rune. He's regenning up. He's getting a lot of creeps. He's up 20 CS and now up 15 denies. Remember, Kuroky at one point this game was up, I think, 8 himself. And it just shows you, eventually Shadow Fiend is going to out-CS you. He just hits too damn hard. 153 damage. You compare that to this 80 or so. And sure, there's Nether Toxin, but that's not going to be nearly as much. Funn1k wants to win. Raise number 1. Needs an auto attack and a raise. And Kuroky is under the gun. Oh, he doesn't get the auto attack. He just throws the raise out there. He's still chasing, but Kuroky will be able to escape. Barely at that. Salving up. Got the wand. Kuroky wants in. No, he doesn't. Funn1k wants in. Funn1k wants in. This is going to be game. No way out for Kuroky. One more auto attack, and he just gets the kill. Kuroky almost got to the high ground, hoping for the mischance. The GGs fly out. Your game winner of this best of 1. Tomorrow is the best of 3 format, but today it is Funn1k. Our final winner bracket match, it is going to go towards Funn1k, the up-and-coming player Kuroky. He got that first blood. He had a big shot in this one, but wasn't able to finish the deal. The haste rune, that could have been the game. It could have gone either way. That's why we love runes. Makes things a lot more interesting. And, well, Funn1k, give him credit. He hit pretty much every single raise. I would say he hit like close to 80% of the raises on the hero later on. And, you know, he's hitting all the raises early just for the creeps. You also have to wonder, maybe if Kuroky had gone for more regen in the lane at the early levels, could have traded more favorably and slowed down Funn1k's farm. But with all that being said, what's done is done. And today's victor is Funn1k. Funn1k moves on to face Fear. So an all Fs matchup for a Fistful of Tangoes. How appropriate. Name other things that start with F now in the chat. Go right ahead. And, well, our loser for this match, Kuroky, he drops down to face S4. Tomorrow's match, it's going to be our first best of 3. And just to reiterate real quickly, we're going to play the draft is the same, or the hero pick is the same, but after game 1, we're going to swap sides. So tomorrow's match, we're going to see the new format in play for the first time. That's not the new format. That's the new format. Did I say Funn1k versus Kuroky? I meant to say S4 versus Kuroky in that loser bracket match. Sorry about that. So Kuroky drops down where S4 is waiting for him. It's going to be a best of 3. So the first match will be randomly decided. The same drafting format. Then they switch sides. So each player gets to play the matchup from both sides of the map, both hero sides as well. And then if one player wins 2, then obviously they won the match. If they split evenly, we go to that 1v1 Shadow Fiend tiebreaker. So this should be pretty interesting to see how it turns out. I hope the new format is better for you guys. I hope you all enjoy it, but the original format has been pretty fun nonetheless. So for now, that's going to wrap it up for a Fistful of Tangoes, but as soon as this video is done, G League is coming up next, so don't tune away from the stream, guys, because if you do, you're going to miss something special. You are going to miss DK versus LGD International. It all begins here on Beyond the Summit. It's a best out of 3. If LGD International win that match, they are in prime position to move forward out of this group. In fact, I think they're guaranteed to. If they lose, we have a 4-way tie for first and last place. Everybody would be 1-1 at that point. So a lot to look forward to. Stay tuned. G League awaits.